back again, Infowars.com, PrisonPlanetTV.com, and most importantly, Real Talk Ministries. I got a video here for you guys. It's basically my film debut. I tried to put together a little bit about everything as far as the Illuminati's plan for this world, which is really just Satan's plan. And I tried to break it down as far as the Illuminati symbolism and any other kind of questions we have about this stuff that God has revealed to me. So I truly hope that this film will be a blessing to you. Please engage me. Go ahead and leave a comment whether you like something, dislike something, or just have any questions about anything. I'm more than welcome to hear it and get back to you as soon as possible. This is definitely an InfoWars exclusive, but most importantly, a Real Talk Ministry premiere. So again, I hope you guys are blessed by this video. God bless you and yours, and I'll catch you next time. Real Talk Ministry, Infowars.com.
Yep. All over the world, one blood. Sitting here thinking to myself, people all over the world are in need of help. From the shores of India back to the hood, people everywhere are misunderstood. But I still believe that love is the answer. I believe that we still can come together. Keep holding on to what I know is true. I'm pouring my heart out to you. You and I, one the same, red blood, flowing through one vein. Hear you cry.
Information overload! All electronics around you poisoning the airwaves! Technological fucking civilization! But we still have all this shit! Because we can't listen.
This is a film about the origins of humankind with a super race of near immortal genetic engineers who are contemplating a genetic overwrite or rewrite of the planet Earth. When meddling humans stumble in to the magician's laboratory, they are punished for their trespass.
It was so wrong.
The so-called space jockey is the advanced species that have engineered humans back on Earth and produced the bioweapon that we know of as the classical alien that burst out of your chest after feeding on the food in your intestines. The reason we're taking time out to examine Prometheus is because its storyline, its plot, mirrors that of many ancient societies. And the ideas presented in Prometheus are at the core of Western secret societies.
These are ancient civilizations that were separated by centuries, and yet this same pictogram was discovered in every one of them.
Please tell me you can read that.
I think they want us to come and find them.
Across the world, we see evidence of early civilizations' obsession with what they believed were off-world influences. From the Nazca lines in South America to the pyramids of Egypt, we see artifacts, testament to early man's obsession with off-world manipulators. Every ancient culture believed they were communicating with men from the sky. Ezekiel with spinning wheels of fire landing and creatures with blue space helmets approaching Ezekiel and giving him a drug to take, and then he has wild hallucinations. One could say that Prometheus is simply art imitating life and putting a 21st century spin on the beliefs of the Dogon tribe in Africa and the Aztecs of Mesoamerica. Eric von Däniken, more than any other living person, has popularized the idea of chariots of the gods, and that our planet has been visited and manipulated by off-world creatures for thousands of years. But the systems that he popularized were regurgitated whole cloth from ideas developed by the ruling class of this planet. And I want to be clear, every major globalist we look at, going back more than 160 years, is completely and totally obsessed with the idea that off-world aliens are controlling this planet and giving them hidden knowledge. By the 1870s, T.H. Huxley Group and their X Club was dominating the Royal Society in England. The dominant theory within the X Club was that humans had been seeded here, along with most other life forms, by advanced beings from space. From the inception of Darwin's theory on the origin of species, evolutionary scientists never believed for a minute that life simply started on its own. That evolution is not some random, slow system developing by chance, but is actually directed by off-world seeders, terraformers, creators of worlds. Even the discoverer of DNA, Francis Crick, promotes the idea that life was seeded on this planet in what he calls directed panspermia. It is part of the larger myth of transhumanism. Huxley, Darwin, Wedgwood, the Galtons, they all interbred in an attempt to create this transcendent Superman. The governing class of this globe believes that they are channeling advanced technological systems given to them by ancient alien species. And the science fiction of the last 150 years, whether it's Jules Verne or H.G. Wells or those that came before them, is obsessed with this, and they're on record part of secret societies who believe what they're promoting is actually reality, but knowing that the public is not ready to accept it, they cover it under the guise of fiction. And the film Prometheus is completely constructed around the secret religion of the Illuminati, who believe that they are transcendent and becoming the Superman.
We can create cybernetic individuals. We are the gods now.
Blurring the lines between fiction and reality, we see a futuristic presentation of the technology conference TED. The keynote speaker is the founder of the Wayland Corporation, Mr. Wayland. There he describes Prometheus stealing fire from the gods.
From the Titan Prometheus, our first true piece of technology, fire.
The transference of fire, or the first technology to man, is only the beginning of his transgressions. Prometheus is a titan and the creator of mankind who attempts to elevate humans to the level of gods and is punished. The Illuminati believe they have stolen the fire of true genius from the gods.
Biotech, nanotech, fusion.
As man attempts to become godlike, we release potential forces that can and probably will destroy us. I want to say this in summation. We're not facing off-world genetic engineers that the elite believes created this planet, whether that's true or not. We're facing the global technocrats that are splicing every plant and animal and insect you can imagine together, that are creating chimeras with hundreds of species within them, giving rise to superviruses and bacterial mutations. We are already seeing within 3 generations in rodents total sterilization and massive deformities in these animals. And we have proven from the Rockefeller Foundation documents and other reports that this is part of a long-term program to wreck the general public's DNA. This is the global elite who have fantasized about off-world genetic engineers, creating them actually in a 160-year-plus program, developing the sciences and technologies to put this in.
Behind closed doors, the Freemasons were free to indulge in the secret rites and rituals handed down to them by their ancestors, and these became the basis of their levels of membership, called degrees.
What many scientists need to discover is the wisdom of the Atlantean technology of the standing column or wave and solitron energy fields. The Tesla coil, as well as structures such as the pyramid, are simple antennas designed to activate the grid system and power the world with inexpensive energy. The secret of generating power from the worldwide grid system is to develop a way to properly tune the pyramid or coil antenna. At the present time this is not achieved, as not enough scientists have studied the power source called the world grid. The ancient people used the world grid to achieve levitation and worldwide communication. This is why pyramids are found all over the world. The Giza pyramid in Egypt is a coil generator and was built to tap into the grid. The main control panel for this was the Ark of the Covenant. Beneath the Great Pyramid was a flooded area, whose purpose was to set up a ground plane. The primary coil was designed into the pit area, and the secondary coil was developed between the pit and the king's chamber. The capstone was the discharge point. There are two types of Egyptian coil designs, one which is forced energy design similar to the Tesla coil, and the other being a passive coil. The passive design is used between the relationship of an obelisk and a pyramid. The pyramid and obelisk generate standing column or waves. The electromagnetic fields created between them cause the energy to flow from one to another via a spiraling arc of energy, of which the frequency can be changed by the angles and size of the obelisk or pyramid. By controlling the flow of the magnetic currents of the Earth, this whole planet could and can be engineered to benefit mankind. Humanity could control the weather, stop earthquakes, cause water to flow out into the deserts, and control the electromagnetic fields of this planet. With this type of engineering, cheap energy can be given to all of humanity. If a planned program was developed, then this planet could become a beautiful green garden, and a lot more.
Politicians funded by the Masons promoted the Masonic ideology. The secret lodges of the Masons were open to members of the French army. High-ranking officers and generals were indoctrinated to the Freemasons' way of thinking. With the people, the politicians, and the military of France under Masonic control, the Masons could finally strike. Freemasonry has worked in a hidden but constant manner to prepare the revolution. We are then in complete agreement that Freemasonry was the only author of the revolution And the applause which I receive from the left, and to which I am little accustomed, proves, gentlemen, that you acknowledge with me that it was Masonry which made the French Revolution. When the so-called founding fathers of America landed on Plymouth Rock, not only did they bring with them disfranchised people, they also brought the Freemasonic elements of Europe. The injustices which the fathers of America were escaping from in Europe was also to be found in the new land, in the form of a tyrannical British regime. In order to gain complete dominance of the new state, the Masons used the same methods to gain control of France. Although the British monarchy was run by the Masons, the American War of Independence was a necessary action, and the people involved in the war were expendable for the Masons to fulfill their dream. Emotions of the people were manipulated into anger, and just like France, anger turned into war. This time, however, previous mistakes would not be repeated. The near defeat the Masons faced against Napoleon and his army in Europe taught the Masons a lesson. Any forthcoming leaders of the resistance must follow the Masonic agenda. The best way to do this was to ensure the leader himself was a Mason, and the leader who took the war to the British was none other than George Washington. On the 4th of July 1776, the Declaration of Independence was made. On the 17th of October 1781, the British were finally defeated and surrendered the colonies to the Americans, and the world's first Masonic state was born, a nation that would represent Masonry in every way. A sign of the Masonic presence in America is plainly visible on the dollar bill, which carries a picture of George Washington, the first Freemasonic president in the world, and a picture of the Freemasonic symbol of the so-called all-seeing one eye.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. It is all around us, even now in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window, or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. Prison before you were mine.
If you look at the root word, because Arabic has root words, and the root words have primal meanings which indicate where the semantic field is deriving its meaning from. The word Dajjala was a word that the Arabs used when a camel had mange. When it was diseased, they would put pitch over it as a treatment. They would put pitch, and they used that word yudajjilu. They would put this pitch over the camel so you didn't see the disease of the camel. Outwardly, the camel would look good because it's been pitched over. You got that idea? This is the Dajjal is he pitches over the sickness and the disease and makes diseases look good. So the idea of the Dajjal is that the Dajjal will come and tell people in the same way that Isa a.s. told them that the next world is what you should work for, the Dajjal would tell them this world is what you should work for. In the same way that Isa a.s. told them that dunya is gharur, it's a delusion and it will delude you. The Dajjal will tell them the next world is a delusion. You see, like the beer commercial, you only live once, so get all the gusto you can. Right? That's a Budweiser. You only live once. You only go around once, so get all the gusto you can. This is the message of this age. It's a message of deep materialism. It is a message telling people they will be happy through buying things. Buy more and be happy. This is a slogan. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Right? The smiley face. And on the back of the dollar bill, there's a seal on this side. It's called the Great Seal of the United States. That's what it's called. It's their seal. Now, behind the seal, this is actually what is behind the Great Seal of the United States, is a pyramid with one eye. Now, the one eye is the sun god, Ray, which is where we get the word ray, sun rays. It is the sun god, same Mithraic character, and he shows up again and again. This is the Masonic god of the ray. If you look, you'll see the pyramid is built except for the top. It's built except for the top. The eye is suspended above the top. It hasn't come down yet. Because they believe until they finished the Masonic project, which is the what they say on the bottom, Novus Ordo Seclorum, and then Annuetta Chapters, he is pleased with our project. In other words, the God they believe in is pleased with our project. What is the project? This is the question. What is the project that this God is pleased with? The project is literally the secularization of the world. To completely strip the world from religious beliefs. This is the project, and that is why it is called Novus Ordo Seclorum, a new secular or worldly order. If you translate that into Arabic, it would be a Nizam al-Alami ad-Dunyawi. not al-jadid. It would be a dunyawi, the new temporal order, the new order.
That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it. Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress? I was... Look again.
Hollywood itself is a word. The word is interesting because it's a word that comes from a pagan. Hollywood is the holy wood, and it was the wood that the magical wands were made out of in the pagan sorcery, magic. And these wands were believed that the sorcerers that possessed them could put people into trances and control them. This is part of, this is symbolic, but it's also important to understand that part of what Hollywood literally does is it puts people into trances. It's a dream state. They call it the dream machine in the United States. Fantasies for people, it puts people into these things. Now, one of the things is interesting that in the part of what's done in movie theaters, in darkened rooms where people watch television, is literally a trance state that occurs through what's called suspended state of disbelief. You enter into a state, you suspend your disbelief and enter into a state whereby you begin to believe what you internally realize is imagination. It's falsehood. Films are magic. It's just magic. You go and you watch these things and people get caught up in them. People cry during films. All this catharsis that takes place in these things. Many of the films, and this is an important element in the control mechanism, is literally allow people to go and have certain type of catharsis is a purging experience, which Aristotle talks about the necessary element. One of the necessary elements of tragedy is to create this cathartic experience. And this is why a lot of the films, especially also news and things like this is why news is very important in this culture. Everybody watches the news, they have this tragic, cathartic experience of watching the tragedies of others and then feeling safe and complacent in their own experience of this suspended state of illusory well-being. So these are very intricate and sophisticated methods. Now, I think it's dangerous, although there are elements, there's concerted efforts that take place, there's also a lot of people that have similar worldviews that aren't necessarily working together in concerted efforts.
My friends, the information that you are about to witness from all of my years of research is the most important. It's been hidden in plain view the entire time. This is the ultimate secret.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
Kennedy died at 1 p.m.
Upon a time, there were two little girls who
And now we're pleased to bring you our feature presentation. Every day, our senses are being constantly bombarded by subliminal messages that are found in TV, movies, and advertisements. The subliminal messages we are subjected to are unrecognizable by the conscious mind and only recognizable in our subconscious mind. The messages and imagery are passively absorbed and then stored in our subconscious, where propagandists deliberately implant artificial thoughts, which in turn can affect our actions and attitudes later in life. Experiments have shown that less than 1 minute after the viewer begins to watch television, the brain switches from beta-level consciousness, associated with active and logical thought, to alpha level, which is associated with passive acceptance and suggestibility. This is why advertisers spend billions of dollars a year on commercials, as well as product placement within TV shows. Political messages are implanted in fictional TV programs as the relaxed, meditative state of the viewer is receptive to the programming. One example is AMC's Breaking Bad television series, as it depicts a meth villain as a Ron Paul supporter.
I looked him up. It was one of these physicists, one of Hitler's guys, a physicist named Werner Heisenberg. Real cute, huh?
In a basic college-level marketing class, in your first year of radio, television, and film, at least for me, and then I've seen some other textbooks and curriculum and found it's also in those, but most RTF schooling teaches you that they have had subliminals for at least 70 years in the United States and Europe. And so, yes, there is subliminal messaging everywhere. It is all over the place. It's an absolute fact that they flicker it at a rate, and that they have the televisions designed for that rate to bring you into a dreamlike state. I mean, it is a fact that within minutes, you go into a dream brainwave when watching television. Go read a book by the father of modern advertising, Edward Bernays, where he calls you a dumb slave and admits they run your whole life. I've read both his major books. One of them is called Propaganda. Edward Bernays.
The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed Our minds are molded, our tastes are formed, our ideas suggested, largely by men we've never heard of. This is a logical result of the way in which our democratic society is organized.
Now, I also mentioned, too, that a fellow that has been in touch with me for an awful long time, his brother was in the CIA, or is in the CIA. He will never talk about the CIA to him. He'll never give anything away whatsoever, except one bit of advice. He said, never watch the television. Never watch the television. It's the greatest scientific indoctrination tool ever devised. Haven't you figured that out? It's changed the whole culture of nations, not just one nation. Why do you think it was mandatory that everybody in Britain give access to televisions by the government? Why do you think China is under the same program to get everyone with a TV right now? Because they love to have you entertained. Do you really think that? And India is on the same route as well right now too. Most of your ideas and your opinions and how you emulate, because you emulate things, you mimic what you see. As Charles Galton, Darwin and others have said in the past. It becomes you, you become it. And that's what's happened. It's been very, very, very successful. Never watch the television. You can't watch a movie unless you do it critically. If you watch it critically, not there to enjoy it. Remember what they say, it's your emotions that get you on. And it's interwoven, all these emotional themes all through movies. You're played like a harp. And they embed ideas into you, along with the movies. And predictive programming too, so you'll accept that which is still to come. And you'll behave the same way as the characters in the movie when it comes. Oh well, what can you do? I'll just watch much music or television. Yeah. You're given a mind of your own, and you've got to use it for yourself.
Mind control is one of the tools that they use. How they get you into the condition to be controlled is by using certain signs and symbols, frequencies, tones, colors, shapes, numbers that they hide subconsciously in the frequency of the music and in the 23rd frame, I believe, on TVs and the movies. Look at the movie-going experience. We go in and we buy butter, popcorn, and Coke. You're actually buying cocaine, and you're buying this chemical called popcorn. Why do I call it a chemical? That butter is not really butter. But when you put it on the popcorn and you put it in the microwave, it becomes a chemical that lulls your subconscious mind asleep.
The one eye is the sun god, Ray, which is where we get the word ray, sun rays. It is the sun god, same Mithraic character, and he shows up again and again. This is the Masonic god.
You attend Jewish services now.
Well, that's what some people think. I don't attend Jewish services.
Straighten us out.
Well, I hear the Torah, but I'm not Jewish, and nor have I converted to Judaism. I think I'm connecting to something that predates religion.
You had my heart, and we'll never be worlds apart. Maybe in magazines, but you still be the star. Maybe in the dark, you can't see the shiny car. And that's when you need me there. You are always there. Because the sunshine will shine together. I told you I'll be here forever. I said I'll always be your friend. No one will stick it out. Now that it's raining more than ever, know that we'll still have each other. You can stand under my umbrella. You can stand under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, eh, eh, eh. Under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, eh, eh, eh. Under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, eh, eh. Under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, eh, eh, eh.
What's her name?
Marley. Her name was Marley.
It's a beautiful name.
Yeah, we named her after Bob Marley. He had this idea. It was kind of a virologist's idea. He believed that you could cure racism and hate, literally cure it, by injecting music and love into people's lives. One day he was scheduled to perform at a peace rally. Gunmen came to his house and shot him down. 2 days later, he walked out on that stage and sang. Somebody asked him why. He said, "The people who are trying to make this world worse are not taking a day off. How can I? Light up the darkness."
The minute I started breaking the all-time record in record sales, I broke Elvis's records, I broke Beatles' records. The minute it became the all-time best-selling albums in history in the Guinness Book of World Records, overnight they called me a freak, they called me a homosexual, they called me a child molester. They said I tried to bleach my skin. They made everything to turn the public against me. This was all complete conspiracy. You have to know that.
law enforcement official tells the Associated Press Los Angeles County coroner has ruled Michael Jackson's death a homicide.
FBI agent for 27.5 years. At the time of my retirement, I was the senior special agent in charge of the FBI Los Angeles Division. I have been qualified in the courts as an expert on cults and satanic ritual abuse. I have information from various sources that judges, law enforcement, prosecutors, attorneys, doctors, and many prominent individuals, including actors, actresses, professional football and baseball players, are involved in these type of activities.
Whole idea of the character Elwood P. Dowd, who has this great friend, which is a 6'8" white rabbit. That video is bringing Harvey right into your home, and you'll be able to see him as many times as you want to, and I sure hope you enjoy it.
Isn't it fun? We do it a lot.
Yeah, you'll love it here, really.
Like it, you'll really, I promise.
No, I swear to you, you'll like it. Actually being here where, it's not done at all. I have this sort of white rabbit with a ticking clock where I need to kind of be doing it, but
a land full of wonder, mystery, and danger. Some say to survive it, you need to be as mad as a hatter. Which luckily, I am. Alice, you're terribly late, you know, naughty.
The wrong pair of hands much less than it was worth. And every man that touched it found a heaven on earth. Heaven is a thing I get in your arms. Heaven is a thing I get in your arms. Heaven is a thing I get in your arms. Heaven is a thing I get in your arms. The queens and the projectors clapped, adored. Their hearts fell to overdrive and murder restored. Mercy this and mercy that, let justice prevail. But I just want my trophy back, it's not for sale. Heaven is the thing I get in your arms. Heaven is the thing I get in your arms. Heaven is the thing I get in your arms. Heaven is the thing I get in your arms. Creatures of mercy, shoot, shoot. smelled like lemon drops away as the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow blue. That's why birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh why can't I?
Hopefully they get it. And I always like to think of it as like I've got them sitting there, whip a little message at them, whip a little moral at them, whip a little of what my view of the world is, because that's what every good filmmaker does. And we'll lead the world into the 21st century, and I'll make a profit on their back.
People have this mistaken notion that the Hollywood system has principles, morals, or values. It doesn't. It does. These are just nose-thumbing movies. They are there to thumb their nose at your values, saying, we don't care if you like us, we don't like you.
Movies are important and they're dangerous because it's, you go into a little dark room and become incredibly vulnerable. They can completely misshape you.
Pleased your children, I've pleased your wives, I've pleased you, you sons of b*****.
Danny Glover was Paul D. First day, when she says, Paul D, is that you? I couldn't even, like, hold myself inside my body.
I guess maybe to get rid of all their demons doing their movies.
Actors who don't mention their names, of course, are very much into this. Magic only exists if you allow it, if you open yourself up to the possibility of.
Basically what I did was got on my knees and sort of communicated with the spirits, and when I came out, I was in charge.
Powerful scene.
Powerful scene. I couldn't have acted that. I couldn't have written that down and made a decision to play.
There's somebody like me, and there's millions of us out there who are interested in astrology, meditation, numerology.
It's so cool. I'll give you an example. They go like this, they go, hey dude, so I heard you're born again. So what's that like? And I go like this. Well, finally I'm at peace. They freak out because, let me tell you, Hollywood ain't at peace. And I go, but the best part is, it's really cool to be in Hollywood, you know, hanging out with you, and be totally free from the bondage of sin. That's awesome.
Stop. There are 6 of them. They surround now the 7 stars. Remember, 6 is the number of man, 7 is the number of God. Now, it is man that is surrounding God, or is placed above God.
The election is a battle in a war. It is not something unto itself. The result of this election in itself is a matter of indifference. It's a question of how the battle is won and lost, which is important. But there's another issue here. There's also an issue of World War III. And World War III is between the British Empire, better known as the Anglo-Dutch liberal banking financial system on the one side, and the principal nations of Eurasia, Russia, China, India, and other nations are the targets of intended warfare by the British Empire, which is already turning Europe into a mere colony of the British Empire through the program of the Lisbon Treaty. If the Lisbon Treaty were adopted, and is being pushed for adoption now, there would not be a single nation on the continent of Europe, west of Belarus and Russia, which had any sovereignty whatsoever. The British Empire would control the entirety of that region of Europe, from Portugal to the borders of Belarus and Russia, as a puppet of the Anglo-Dutch liberal financial interests. It is those interests represented in the United States for a long time have taken over control of the US dollar, control of the United States. Now they're moving in for the kill. The same cartel that put Mussolini into power in Italy, the same cartel that put Hitler into power in Germany. And we're now at the brink of something like a Hitler power taking over the United States. If they grab the United States, then they will grab all of Europe out of the Lisbon Treaty. If they control the United States and the parts of Europe under the Lisbon Treaty, then you will have an actual fighting war emerging on this planet. You will have dictatorship. You will have mass starvation. The elimination of whole sections of the population of parts of the world through starvation. And that's part of the British program. It's the food war. That's the situation. We're not dealing with an election. We're dealing with whether there is in the United States, in the top layers of society, the moral fitness to survive. And so far the vote is in the leadership of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Neither is morally fit to survive. They're as unmorally fit to survive as the people who backed Mussolini and backed Hitler back in the 1920s and the 1930s. And if we allow this to happen, we will get the same kind of treatment that the victims of Mussolini, Hitler, and so forth suffered. That's where we stand. We have to win this war against that evil empire. Now, for a number of months now, there has been a worldwide food crisis caused by many things, by the financial policies, various kind of management deals, by the WTO, which ought to be eliminated, by the promotion of biofuels, which is destroying food supplies. This biofuel program is a gigantic swindle for which there is no possible justification. None. The justification comes out of the World Wildlife Fund of Prince Philip. In Zimbabwe, for example, what's the crime? You have an African population in Zimbabwe, which was one of the biggest fighters against the British Empire. They're not allowed to develop their own territory because London, by various mechanisms, prevents them from doing so. And London uses the farms it allows to prosper in former Rhodesia to feed the populations of Britain. So you have non-African farmers running farms, producing food in Zimbabwe for the edification and fattening of Brits. But the rest of the population is inhibited in any attempt to develop. What they've done is they've taken industries, manufacturing industries in particular, agriculture in particular, and countries which were good agricultural producers or good manufacturing producers have been stripped of those industries. Those industries have been taken to populations where the lower 80% of the population is illiterate. So you have colonies of manufacturing in countries in Asia, Africa, and so forth, South America, where the people, the 80% of the population, does not participate in the economy. You have areas which used to be food-producing areas which no longer produce food. Because what you're having is a world dictatorship under the name of globalization, better called the new Tower of Babel, in which the cultures are being destroyed as the United States is being destroyed, as Germany is being destroyed, as Italy is being destroyed, as France is being destroyed, and the attempt to make war on China, India, and Russia. And that's the intent of the British Empire. Nothing less than the destruction and breakup of China, the breakup of Russia, the breakup of India. That is the policy of the British Empire now. This is what the game is. And if this game is not stopped...
Started up a hornet's nest earlier this week when he suggested the problems of the hungry came about because they were uninformed about where to go for help.
I mean, how can Reagan live in the White House, which has a lot of rooms, and there be homelessness? And he's talking about helping homelessness.
I don't believe that there is anyone that is going hungry in America simply by reason of denial or lack of ability to feed them. It is by people not knowing where or how to get this help.
Why can't he take some of them people off the street and put them in his White House? Then he'll have people from the streets to help him with his ideas. They haven't been homeless forever. They've done things in society. But then the White House would be a little tainted because he doesn't want to get dirty.
What makes my freedom less worth fighting for than Bosnians or whoever?
Blood of the innocent is crying from the ground. I love the answer.